Coming to you live. You ain't see this shiny solar-like energetic face in a minute. This is Instagram, but this will be going up on my YouTube. So if you're watching this on YouTube, I did this on my Instagram, Alex Will 64 first. So what's going on, man? It's Al Achad coming back. What's going on? I'm gonna shout your name. You know how I do with these lives if you haven't been on here for a minute. I'm gonna say your name so that you feel included, so that because people when you don't recognize them when they type up stuff in the chat here down here, they feel some type of way. They don't feel like they're being valued or paid attention to. You know what I'm saying? And then you don't retain them going forward. So what's going on? MZIMU, what's going on? Mzimu, if that's the way you pronounce it. What's going on? Equinox Grade, what's going on? Just to help people feel included, you know what I mean? Holography. This is going up on my holography YouTube channel. So subscribe to me on there. You know what I'm saying? I do lives and stuff, you know what I mean? Then my holography Patreon. Hold on, let me pin this comment right quick. Hold on. There we go. Let me pin this right here. How you pin it? You gotta hold it. Or you tap it. Pin comment. All right, so yeah, so this is going up on my YouTube. You know what I mean? I'm gonna start doing this from now on so that I deal with people on the Instagram thing and then on the YouTube thing. You know what I mean? What's going on, Reg Kepper? What's going on? So we're gonna start talking about building a school. So you probably already know where this conversation is going to go because it's funny to talk about. I enjoy talking about people building schools and schools not being built. You know what I'm saying? When you preach the idea of a school, but the school is never built. You know what I'm saying? When you have these lavish and grandiose ideas of how your school is going to be, but we have yet to see the school. What's going on, VNG Biko? What's going on? Because it's funny. What's going on, Ripstar? It's funny to me. You don't find entertainment from that? From people say, like, not even just with schools, but people making promises that they're not keeping or making guarantees that they're not following through on. You know what I mean? Because how hard is it to create a school? How hard is it to build one? How hard is it to go out there and say, hey, I'm going to take these type of students or this body of students, this student body, and I'm going to jettison them into an educational, prowess and educational, high educational standard. I'm going to teach them the ways of the world. This shit is deep. You know what I'm saying? To reference Inspector that from Wu-Tang. You know what I'm saying? The ways of the world. What's going on? Said detachment. Yeah, that's part of a learning thing to do. Definitely. In fact, you can detach from teaching people. Like I don't have to come out here and tell you about the stuff that I teach on. I don't have to tell you. I don't have to teach you anything. Like it doesn't sit here and bolster my abilities or whatever. I mean, like I said, if you a true teacher is still a student. In order to be a good teacher, you still got to be a student. There's never a day when I'm not a student. You know what I mean? So let's make that perfectly clear. But you're coming out here, making a business out of telling people that you're going to create a school, and you could have already built one. You could have already made one and established one. With the technology that we have in this day and age and time and era and eon, you could have been made a school. You know what I'm saying? But you have these lavish and grandiose, extravaganza of a school. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have this in the school. We're going to have that. We're going to have this and that. You know what I mean? We're going to have all these features, all these campuses and colleges and all that stuff. And it never comes to be. And I'm just here to say, as a person that has students right now who does teach, who has created online courses, who does do consultation, birth charts and all the like, you know what I'm saying? Because you got to be a consultant when you're an astrologer. It's not that hard to do. In fact, it's probably in these times of technology and networks and social media, your best bet is to do something over the internet. A brick and mortar school is not really that much of a feasible thing, especially after the Corona bottle thing came out in 2020. When the Corona bottle thing came out, what I started to see is that a lot of colleges and institutions, academic institutions, started to shift over to e-learning or online learning. You know what I'm saying? Because you already had your Phoenix universities and all that stuff, but then you had, like, big time schools talking about, well, hey, you don't have to go on campus now. You can just learn from the comfort of your home. You just need a good internet connection and a good computer with some storage and good RAM. That's it. That's it. So this idea that you're going to sit here and erect an institution, brick and mortar, you're going to build it brick by brick, or you're going to buy some real estate and turn it into an educational institution or facility, that's kind of getting outdated and outmoded a little bit. Because what do I need that to actually come out here and teach and tell you how things should be, like, or to show you the ways of the world? No. I could do that, like, just on my own Instagram channel, like, or Instagram. Like, I can just use the captions to be a lesson. Like, I've been doing that since, like, 2013. It's been over a decade of me on this Instagram career shit, if you want to call it a career. I mean, I would have to put the word career on it because I have been getting paid to do the stuff. I mean, it's just a way to promote your businesses or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you're on Instagram for anything else other than that, I mean, I hope you don't take it that serious after, just promoting things and maybe posting some funny stuff. You know what I'm saying? I hope you're not taking it more seriously than it is, But the only thing that you need to have a school is just a group of students. You just need a body of students. You need someone that's willing to learn what you are trying to teach. And that could be one person or 100,000 people. Like, it's really boils down, the foundation of it boils down to someone wants to learn what you have to teach. There's your school right there. Now, obviously, you want to add more features to that than just, someone wanting to learn stuff or whatever. For example, what I have written here is all you need is an educational organization to really have an effective school. You just need to be able to organize your education. Create a system. Create a way for, an advancement. Tracking people's advancement as they learn the things that you want to teach them or to show them or to, instruct them on. That's it. And organize it. So, for example, I have online courses where, it comes with workbooks, it comes with all this different stuff so that I know I can track and make sure that you are learning what I'm teaching. So, for example, in one of my courses, Inner Work Suite, where you learn how to deal with your traumatic schemas or the schemas or the behaviors and the thinking patterns that come out of the traumas that you experience when you was, a child or whatever. That comes with workbooks where it's not just me telling you something, it's you applying what has been instructed to you or instructed, in the course. So that way it's not, because anybody could come out here and tell you stuff. Everybody has an opinion and they use social media to get the opinion too, right? People that they haven't even researched the opinion, they're not experts in no shape or form. They're just telling you what they think is, right? That's all they're doing. They're not doing anything, really profound and really just kind of regurgitating other people's lessons or things that they learned from some other teacher and just really out here just being a parrot. You know what I'm saying? Like, the little brightly colored bird that repeats everything you say. That they're that parrot on the shoulder. That's all they really are. They're not coming up with new avenues and new ways of thinking or new ways of looking at. It's just being a parrot. You know what I'm saying? which that's something that I don't want to be out here doing, is being a parrot or someone just repeating what other people are doing. It's like, there's a need to take people in new directions. Otherwise, what's the point of you coming over to me to learn any fucking thing? There's no need. If someone's already saying it, why would I go behind them and say it again? I'm not taking you into new territory. I'm not having you go on a quest for you to learn your own, to learn stuff on your own. So there's a redundancy out here that, if we can cut down on it, that would be nice. You know what I'm saying? We can cut down on that redundancy. Because again, if you could get it from that guy, why come over here? You know what I'm saying? But as far as building a school is concerned, like I said, you just need a student body and organizing them. Organizing the lessons, organizing, how they are going to progress through your course or through your lessons or whatever. Keeping it organized. So, or for example, with me, I do use Patreon as another way to kind of, get out that education to people. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, you got to be motivated to have something to teach people. And again, it's best when you're not repeating after others' lessons that you got from somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, I just put up a video talking about chakras, the real circle 7. There's things that I know I haven't heard from anybody talking about these chakras, and it was the incentive to really make that course, or at least that video, not necessarily a course, but the video. Because I know you can benefit from it, because I know you haven't heard anyone approach it that way or put things together that way. And not just putting anything together, but seeing patterns and seeing threads that tie things together that people have not discovered yet. They haven't come across it yet. Greetings, folks. This is Al Achad. Had to cut into the video to let you know that this book here, Wholography, now it's on Kindle, Amazon Kindle. So if you have the Kindle service, you can definitely check it out. There's even a longer sample for you to read, where you can really get into if you really want to know about my book or not. For me, it's more about getting the book out there rather than trying to make a sale exclusively. So but if you are one of those scholars where you want the book, you want to do some highlighting and some annotating, and you really want to tear it apart, which that's what I really want you to do, then definitely go to my website, holographer.com/the-book. You know what I'm saying? And do it that way. Either way is cool with me. And now back to the video. So that is the incentive to be like, even if I don't want to sit here and come out and teach, I'm like, well, I know people don't know this. I know how they haven't seen it this way, because you can tell just based on the way they approach this certain topic or this subject matter. I have something new to give. I have something new to present to people, or something that has been forgotten over the ages of time and is being reintroduced. So that's the incentive or the motivation for me to come out here and be a teacher or instructor or even a disciplinarian to you if you're into discipline. You know what I'm saying? Because again, to be an effective teacher, you got to be a student. So I'm still learning just like you. I'm still questing when other people aren't really questing. And what I mean by questing is actually asking you questions that make you go on a quest, that have you learn the shit on your own. Where I show you that this is a direction you probably want to go in, then giving you the question for you to find out on your own. Because that in that way, you are figuring things out on your own. And you don't need me to figure them out for you. Because there are people that make a lot of money figuring out things for other people. But I don't think that's a real learning experience, because it's just you taking information from people and going, okay, I'm going to trust what they're saying and go with that. What if the nigga's wrong? What if he ain't true and what he's talking about? What if it's inaccurate? Because the way that I'm sitting here saying about questing, it's a way to cut down on the inaccuracy. Instead of sitting here telling you all the time what something is, here, I'll ask you this question and then have you go on the quest or the journey or the trek or the path to find out for yourself. So it leans more towards subjectivity than objectivity, because with objectivity, it's like you sitting here saying that all this information is true all across the board and universally, when maybe it's not, because I'm looking at it differently from other people, or you're looking at it differently from other people. So I believe it's more effective for you, you know what I'm saying, to go on your own quest or journey to find out that knowledge or information than me telling it to you or me trying to inculcate or install that into you. Because that's me disrespecting you by sitting here saying, oh, I'm just going to, you need to follow this information front to back, side to side, up and down, and don't question it. No, I'm disrespecting you as your own person. I'm sitting here, if I'm doing it that way, that's me saying, oh, you don't have your own way of looking at things. Let me give you one. I'm disrespecting you as your teacher if I do you like that. And I'm respecting you by saying, look, here's something that you can explore. Find out for yourself. See for yourself. Don't be lazy. Lazy ass motherfucker. Don't be lazy about this stuff. If you're going to be an explorer, if you're going to be a student, explore. Because through your own journey or your own trek, now you have something to share with other people just like me. And that brings me to another point. Whenever you're building a school, don't assume that you are the source of everything your students know. Because I've dealt with teachers before and they were arrogant in them teaching me things where they thought that everything I know, or at least the valuable things that I know, it was because of them. Don't fall into that pit. It's not a good pit to be in. It makes you look like a dumbass when you sit here and think that you are the source of everything your student knows. Respect your students enough that they can figure things out on their own, right? They can figure things out on their own and they can come to their own conclusions. I want you to come to your own conclusions about everything there is to know and learn about. Don't just go by my conclusions, because my conclusions may be prematurely closed, meaning that there's still openings, there's still more exploring to do. But in my arrogance, I can be like, well, this is what it is, and that's the final straw on that, or the final closing on it. Because you can even be in academia and your career can be, well, let me go to this guy and that guy's conclusion and see if there's more to explore about that. So being more open-ended is a beneficial thing to be, instead of just coming to a quick conclusion. Like, even if I give you a quick answer of a question you're asking me, that's me having a fast conclusion about that. It's like, no, you could go on an exploration and really come to a satisfying conclusion on that information or knowledge. That's what I'm trying to say. And really also, as if you're going to build a school, bringing the universe back to university, or how should I say this? Bringing the university or universal principle back to university. Because if you're going to call it a university, how come we're not studying the universe? So in a school that I have built, whether it's one, that you're going on online to be a student of, or, saying if ever there's a brick and mortar school that people have promised that they were going to put up that didn't, I would love for it to be transdisciplinary, which simply means we're not going to study one subject and section it off from other subjects. We're going to study all the subjects as one subject. We're not going to separate math from biology. We're not going to separate biology from music. We're not going to separate music from law, and we're not going to separate law from genetics. It's going to be studied all as one thing. It's not new that I'm sitting here talking about it, but just on the topic of building a school, it's an effective approach because it's all about avoiding fragmentality in your understanding of things or in your viewpoints. Because what I've noticed, just studying education and being a teacher or an instructor, just in my career, if you want to call it that, I see that a lot of people aren't necessarily wrong about the things that they know. They're just incomplete about it. They're fragmented about it. They're not putting things together. There's a lack of holism in what they're, preaching about, teaching about, disseminating or sitting here writing on. And that could be a problem in your, because it's like you have an incomplete viewpoint of things. And with that incomplete viewpoint can come incomplete application, which is important to anything that you're learning. Is that where's the application? How can I use what was just learned or what was just told to me, or what did I just find out? Because that's where a lot of people, like you probably noticed that a lot of people stop at. And that's where the incompleteness comes in, where it's like, you learned this shit, but you're not applying it. You found out about it, but it's like, oh, okay, that's good to know. You know what I'm saying? It becomes trivia instead of applicable knowledge or applicable knowledge. It's just trivia. And you see how that can lead into a lot of pontification and intellectual masturbating, for example. Like, it's like you think you're above everybody else because you have information, but the information you have not used. You have not changed yourself. You have not improved on yourself. It's just, again, you just become a walking dictionary or walking encyclopedia. Which, again, why do I need to use you as an encyclopedia when I can fucking go get the book myself? So again, there's a lack of holism. Again, a lack of holism, a lack of seeing things all the way through. Incomplete in their understanding. And the only reason I can see that or even be able to speak on it and you know what I'm saying, to find a solution to it, is because I see that you know this and know that, but you haven't put those things together. You have this puzzle piece, you have that puzzle piece, and you have this puzzle piece, but you didn't put the fucking puzzle together. And I'm seeing that there's a fragmentality in your approach to things. You know what I'm saying? What's going on, self-detached? What's going on, King? King Daoud, what's going on? It's good, mixed by Keith. What's going on? So that is something that I see as, like, I see that lack of incomplete or lack of completion or completeness in conscious community, academic institutions, and anywhere else. You see it if you're paying attention. Because I'm not here to say that you're wrong. I'm here to help you put things together, among other things. But that's one of my key tenets. Let's put all this data that you have, all these pieces of things you think you know, and put them together and see if there's a pattern that arises or you get a more complete viewpoint. But going back to the concept of the universe in the university, that's where we're studying not just a specialized subject, but the entire fucking world. The entire cosmos is under review, under study. Because what you get in universities today is that they're only giving you a specialized piece of the whole pie. And therefore, you get an incomplete understanding of things. You get an incomplete viewpoint. And like I said, part of that is also people giving you premature conclusions on things. Like for example, like if you have, let's say you have like 133 elements on a periodic table, right, of elements, and that's your conclusion on elements. What if there's more elements to explore? What if there's more elements to dig up from the ground? And then people create their viewpoints on the world based on these premature conclusions. So within their premature, closed, restricted information, they think they are the smartest, the most educated, you know what I'm saying? The expert or the authority on a subject. And I'm like, bro, your premature conclusions are showing. Your premature conclusions on things is bleeding out of your mouth, is bleeding out of your ears, it's all in your face. You know what I'm saying? Yes, be still learning. Like for the third time. To be an effective teacher, you need to be always a student. Because even if I had 20 students right now and I'm teaching a class in front of them, there are things that's in them that that will only be shown to the world until they have to bring it out of themselves. Which brings up the concept of a priori knowledge. APRIORI. A priori. So this is Latin. A priori knowledge. So a priori knowledge is knowledge or information or things you know that doesn't need to be taught to you. It's innate. It's almost like the knowledge came with you out of your mother's womb. It was there with you, and it's nothing that I have to teach you. The only part that I would, if I was your teacher, is to help you bring it out, help you get the blocks out of the way, the obstructions, so that it can flow right out of you. That would be my only thing in connection with you in that situation. I don't need to teach you anything. I don't need to instruct you on anything, unless, of course, for you to get out of your own way, so that your a priori knowledge can flow out, which speaks to the true meaning of education when you look at the etymology of the word. Prefix E meaning X or out, right? And duct, which means like a aqueduct or a duct or some sort of, some sort of tube, or like a pathway of something running out, right? Like a duct, aqueduct. So duct or out duct, right? That's education, a drawing out. How many schools or courses or classes have you been in where they allowed you to draw out what's already in you? Because most of the time it's all about putting stuff in you on some trying to proselytize you, trying to inculcate you, program you. If you look at all your public and private, because they ain't no different, just because they wear uniforms and shit, or they got some religious basis to their private schooling, you'll see that it's all about putting something in you, not pulling something out of you. And that's a clear sign that that is all there to program you into what they want you to be in society. It's a societal conditioning institution, not a true learning facility. What you mean? You're in your 12th loop. I don't know what you mean by that. But anyway, that's how you know you've never really been educated. You've been inculcated, proselytized, which means converting you to a belief of, what I'm saying? Like if a Christian or a Muslim is like, I'm going to have you, worship Allah or Jesus or whatever, that's them proselytizing you. I'd respect you more if you said, I'm going to bring the Jesus out of you. I'm going to bring the Allah out of you. Because it's not even for me to say, oh, Jesus exists or Allah doesn't exist or Jesus. That's not part of my education or my educational plan. My plan is to say, go on the journey or the trek to find out if it is or if it isn't. Or if it does, in what way. That's why nobody can tell me what God is, because I found out for myself. I did the research, and not just we're just going to go into Google or we're going to go through some books. No, I had to search within myself, because it goes back to the concept of a priori knowledge. What do I already have? What do I already know? But I'm sitting here being distracted and misdirected by things outside of me. Or what programming must I deprogram from so that my inner content can flow through? You know that saying, oh, you're in your own way. It's a lot of people in their own way. They are in the way of themselves. They are the source of their own obstruction. It's sad to see. And the problem is always choice, where you're choosing to be obstruction of your own self, or you're choosing to have someone stand in as an obstruction to you, because you already make the decision, going by a priori knowledge, you already make the decision to be proselytized and conditioned and engineered. You already made that choice. So you go into that school, whether you're a child or an adult, that's still up to you to, that's still you. Because it depends on, how far you go back in your existence, of how much of a choice you had in it. Because most people behave in a way that, they didn't have a choice on where they was born or who they was born to, circumstances of their childhood. They act like they didn't, like no part of them had any stake in that. And from my viewpoint, you are the source of everything you experience. So everything you've experienced up to this point and beyond, going into the future, that's all you, partner. That's part of my educational plan, to help you see that. That it's no one else's fault. It's not your parents' fault. It's not your abuser's fault. It's no one else's fault but you, because you are present in the experience. Who are you going to blame that you are present in the experience, whether good, bad, or neutral? Because that teaches a sense of, ultimate responsibility for everything that happens to you. Again, we don't teach victim mentality over in my school. And I'm sitting here speaking as if I have a brick and mortar school, like I've built it, and you can just, open the doors and, come sit in the classroom or whatever. But you can do that there's plenty of websites. They have teachable.com, they have udemy.com, they have Punjabi. Say they get expensive after a while. You know what I'm saying? Like they like to up their monthly prices, for teachers or, people teaching on there. They like to do that. But you use Patreon. I use Patreon as a school too. I got a whole course on there dealing with the balls of fire and ISIS thesis books. So I have a session for each chapter of that book. For people that, they didn't really grasp the information in that book. So I say, you know what? Let me make a course on that. And, just, not necessarily go through every single word in the book, but just kind of offer a lesson for each chapter, just to give you guidance within what's being talked about in those chapters. You know what I'm saying? Because we live in a time of technology and networks. So why not use them to your advantage? Because if it's really about instruction, like for example, I'm not just telling you information, I'm instructing you on how to do something. So I'm not teaching you about the history of cars. just to be teaching it to you. Like the part, it leads up to me telling you how to take the car apart, how to put this engine piece, how to take this engine piece out, how to drain the oil. Like it's instructional, right? So if it's instructional, there's like you have to apply what's being learned. It's not me just telling you trivia. Like this ain't Jeopardy. I know my name Alex, but this ain't fucking. It's not Jeopardy. Where what I'm saying, all these random facts and you win because you know all this random trivia. No, because you can't even use that trivia. How's that useful? Like me being utilitarian, like how is that like useful for your everyday life or for whatever activity you want to apply or do some application in? Because a lot of people mistake that for being smart when you have all this trivia. Like, when this president did this, or, when these Africans went here, what I'm saying? Like a historian or something. You think someone's smart just because they know these random facts. Which leads me to my next point of people having the semblance of education or the semblance of knowledge or semblance of intelligence, the appearance, the facade of being smart. Or they're in some social role of being an expert or some intellectual. It's not real intellect. It's not real intelligence. It's just you're playing the societal role as one. So if you go into these areas of pop psychology or pop science or pop neuro, what I'm saying? When I say pop, I mean popular, like popular science, popular neuroscience, or popular biology, where you have these commercialized educational presentations, right? You said, can you spell? What do you mean spell? Spell what? I said a lot of words. You gotta tell me which word you want me to spell. But anyway, you have these figures, these so-called experts that play the part of being the intellectual and the intelligent person. It's a role. It's not a true intelligence. Usually for media purposes, like they're always in the news or they're always on some TV show or they're always being booked for some documentary or movie or whatever. It's the semblance, not the actual thing. It's a role because when you're engineering society, you have to have a ceiling on what information is to be disseminated to these subjects in your society, right? Because then you have a secret society where they know the actual information, they know the actual knowledge on something because they've been initiated into it. They have, been cleared and qualified to know or to be told this secret doctrine or the secret information, while the rest of the public is given public knowledge. So you need a public figure. They don't necessarily have to have the intelligence. They just have to stand in as a figurehead, disseminating, this publicly non-security clearance information. Said without the application of knowledge, the attainment of it seems pointless. Yeah, I'm talking. It's trivia. It becomes trivia for people. Now, if you can utilize trivia and it becomes useful somewhere, then bravo. But if not, theatrical. Oh, well, I just realized that I can't hear you to know what words you want me to spell, but I don't know. You have to rewatch this and then let me know what time in the video I did it because I'm not totally sure what word you're talking about. But anyway, these are just some thoughts about if you're going to be a teacher or if you're going to go to a school. So it's looking at it from both angles, like you being the instructor or the professor or the teacher or the expert, right? And then you being the student or the pupil or the apprentice or whatever. What makes the most effective teaching experience or the effective schooling? What makes the best school experience, right? Because I wish someone, and like I said, it's not about regrets. It's more about I know I'd be in a different position as someone, or even an institution, or just somebody who broke it down to, or was more of a true educational person. That it was all about helping me draw out what I already have within me, rather than trying to program me into some, compliance and complicit subject in this society. Because being in my early 30s and, back in school, you got teachers of all ages. They never was like that for me. It was all about programming me with some curriculum. Never about drawing out what I'm capable of. So in building a school, these are some things to consider. Because when you see that there's someone like just disturbing your programming, that's all I got to do. That's the start of your true education, is when I disturb or throw a wrench in your program thinking. Because the first step is what? You're going to be angry and be in denial about me throwing the wrench in your thinking. Like, for example, people that believe that there are actual planets in a galaxy somewhere. And everything that NASA told them about there being planets and asteroid belts and all this stuff that they talk about in, outer space and extraterrestrial explorations, right? What if I showed you and told you at the same time that that's all one big ass fabrication? Now the UFO niggas, the UFO niggas I'm talking about, the UFO guys, they would sit here and be in denial. They'd be angry with me. They'd debate me. They'd be upset about that because they're not aware of the fact that they're being programmed and proselytized and inculcated with this fabrication of the cosmos. So that's me throwing a wrench, because some people are going to be highly denial or just highly deny that. They'll deny it straight off the bat. But then there's other people where it's like, well, damn, is the planets real? Is it fake? Now I have sparked them to go on their own exploration about the subject. So by the time I come back to them in a year or so, they're going to be like, thank you, Alex. I thought this shit was completely 100% real. I went on the history or the journey of seeing how much of a fabrication it was. And that was the true education. And in a lot of ways, if we're talking about, I just mentioned a few minutes ago, talking about initiations and secret societies and, getting it, that type of thing. That's largely what a lot of that tends to be. Where you go on a journey to figure out the truth of things without it being told to you. Because I can be sitting here telling you some bullshit right now. I could be lying to your face right now. Or I could just be disseminating inaccurate information. How would you know if you didn't go on a quest to find out? You'll notice that a lot of people don't go on these quests. They're not questers. You might as well call them, automatons at this point. Like you're just a programmed organic bot. Programmed to think, say, and do as you were programmed to do. Even the ones that sound educated and smart are a part of that botnet. To use some terms from cybersecurity, they're bot. It's a botnet. Motherfuckers on social media is one big ass botnet. A network of robot or automaton program motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? It's a botnet. They're programmed to be triggered. Like, for example, if I sit here and start talking about I like Trump, Do you know how many reactions I'm going to get out of that? You probably want my head on a stick somewhere after I said, if I convinced you, it doesn't take a lot of convincing if I said, oh, I'm a Trump supporter. That's all I gotta say. And watch the barrage of comments and Twitter rants and internet bullying and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? He says so many find it difficult to think for themselves. Yeah. But also in that, I'm not concerned. See, now it takes me to the subject of I don't care to teach the world. Now I know Bone Thugs, they got a song, If I Could Teach the World. If I could teach the world to be a thug in harmony. If I could teach the whole wide world to be a thug just like me. You know what I'm saying? I don't care to teach the world. That may be too vast. I don't care to teach the community. I don't care to teach every black person. I don't care to teach the people in this conscious community. I don't care to teach everybody who find themselves watching this live stream or this video when it's on YouTube. Because there was a point in time in this whole conscious thing where I was distraught that my people were ignorant, deaf, dumb, and blind. I was distraught by that. Like it was right here in my gut area, gut section. I felt that, my people, they eat pork and they don't know banking. They don't know how to do stocks. They don't save money. They don't circulate the dollar within their own community. They're letting white people gentrify their neighborhoods. There was a time where I felt that way. I don't feel that way anymore. Because a part of this true educational thing is learning to accept that people want to be programmed. They want to be asleep. They want to be dumb, deaf, and blind, or blind, deaf, dumb. Your mind left numb. They want to be that. Because there's nothing indicating in their activities or behavior that they want to do something else. Respect people's decisions. I don't need to go out and teach all of y'all this stuff. There's only about 3 people watching this right now on this live stream. I don't care to teach all of y'all. But for those that do catch the bait on this fisherman thing that I'm doing, good. You were supposed to see it and you were supposed to take it. Like you're the wide receiver that I'm throwing the ball to. So on a football field, just to use an example, I'm not throwing the ball at anybody, just any old body. I'm throwing it at the targeted wide receivers, maybe even the running back. Not here to throw the ball at the guards and the tackles, or throw the ball so that the other team can intercept. No, I'm throwing the ball at certain wide receivers. Go long, bro. I'm gonna throw that Hail Mary. You know what I mean? Catch it in the end zone. That's y'all 3 or 4 people watching this. Or whoever, you know what I'm saying? Hopefully you have good catching skills. Because back when I was playing Little League football when I was a little kid, that was the one thing that I just didn't have mastered. Like I couldn't really catch the ball. I could tackle, I can run, I can do all that, but I had a hard time catching the ball. But that's neither here nor there. But like I said, that's, just to use it as a metaphor. I'm not here to pass the ball to everybody. Because everybody isn't built to learn this stuff. They chose to live a life of programmedness and inculcation. So as far as trying to save people or to lift them out of the mud of programmings or whatever, or to keep them from being a part of the botnet, I don't care. It's not important to me. Say, let the dead bury the dead. Yes. Let they ass sleep. That's why there's no remorse, as you know before. Like there's no remorse if they're going through these problems, because it's like you can solve that by simply waking the fuck up. Your problem is culminated, or it's summed up in the fact that you are asleep. So as long as you stay asleep, you will have these issues. So until I see that you want to wake the fuck up, I'm not going to bother you. I'm not going to be in your face telling you you should eat this way or be disciplined in that or think in that or read this. Who cares? It's a waste of my effort, time, and energy, which can be put more towards those who are trying to wake up, who have the capacity to wake their ass up. You're trying to educate bot people on botnets. You know how what they say in the whole Tibetan monk thing, the Buddhist thing. I can't teach you if your cup is already full. If your cup is already full, that means you're already programmed. You're already proselytized. You're already brainwashed. You got to empty that cup. You got to empty the brainwashing out. And not to say I'm some sacred sage of sages or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that just dealing with this true education thing. This ain't no mass thing. I'm not here to teach the masses. Because if that's all, if that's what I'm trying to do, then I might as well try to get a job at a high school somewhere, or be a professor at a university and do it like that. Oh yes, at the university, that's where the programming is sealed for you. Because again, you got to have a class of or if you look at this shit as a caste system, you have to have a class of people who are considered intellectuals and experts. You got to have your own experts. You can't sit here and let there be outside experts of your programming, because that messes up your societal system if you have experts you don't control. If just looking at it from a social engineering perspective, you have to have your own experts that appear as experts. And again, it's nothing to be angry at. It's nothing to be, you're mad at the world or you're mad at the government for all this. No, that's not what this is all about. Because if you are charged with herding the sheep, let the herder herd the sheep. I'm not going to interrupt the shepherd's job in herding those sheep, because it has nothing to do with what I do. So you see a lot of people that get distraught about the things that they see in the news, and I'm like, look, it doesn't stop me from the discipline I'm on. That thing about people being shot by the police, or you're gentrifying this neighborhood in New York or DC, none of that shit it doesn't stop me from my discipline. So people that you see reacting to that, that's them wanting to be distracted. So just step aside. You know what I'm saying? Get out of their way. Get out of their way, dog. Get out of their way. Because that's taken away from your time and effort to draw out what's in you. There's a lot of distracted, time wasting ass people. And they're doing that to, skip out on what they could be doing for themselves. Right? So let me ask you, if I built a brick and mortar school with these principles that I just listed here for, this video you just watched, would you enroll? Would you come through and sign up? You don't have to. I'm just saying, like, would you be interested in enrolling in this type of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. You know what I'm saying? Knowledge, wisdom, understanding, like how the 5% nation say. Because not only do I speak on this stuff, I live it. I'm disciplined in it. Do you get what that means? Like, it ain't just me like going on the internet and just like, regurgitating, like being a parrot. No, this is stuff that I have experienced. It's stuff that it's the experiential learning of it. It's figuring things out on my own, being autodidactic. Do you know what that means? You're self-taught, autodidact, or autodidactic. You're self-taught. You are truly educational. You have drawn out your own inner content. Because in that sense, like I said, like I would love to be more of a consultant on that. Like if there's people out in the world that need to, they need to draw out their inner talents or their inner gifts, I'm a good guy in that. I can help you with that. Or if you need to get organized and disciplined about, like for example, you want to write a book, you want to paint a picture, you want to build a house, you want to uh create a musical album or a musical piece or something like that, like some grand life project, you know what I'm saying? You want to create an app, or you want to um start your landscaping business, whatever. A lot of the times people wish they may and they wish they might, but they never really do it or complete it because of the lack of organization and discipline. You see that across the board. You see that all around. You see that in every ethnicity. You see it in every age group, every educational level, every tax bracket. A lack of discipline and organization. You see it. That's something I know I'm good at because I've done it for myself. So, you know what I'm saying? Speaking of which, holographer.com, you see it pinned right there on the bottom of the screen there. That's where you can get my book, Wholography, the whole writing of the arts and sciences as one educational discipline. You know what I'm saying? That took organization. I had to create an outline for that. You know what I'm saying? So that I know that what I'm writing, this is going to be over like 400 or something pages, has to be organized and make sense for people to understand what's being talked about in it. That took organization. That took discipline to do. And I was done. I was basically done within a year's time. You know what I'm saying? Even when I took, a few months break, it didn't take me a whole lifetime to create. It didn't take me years to do. I was organized in putting that book together, and it was done. I didn't rush it, and I didn't sit here and take too much time with it. Steadily, step by step. You know what I'm saying? So, in building the school, to bring this to a close, to not a premature conclusion like we was talking about earlier, but a decent degree of conclusion. In building a school, you're going to promise all these people that you're going to do this, this, and that. And like I said, at that point, you become a dissipator. You become what is known as a pacifier at that point. Because if you keep promising someone something and you never deliver on it, that's you trying to bait them into, keeping them from being rabble rousing. You're trying to calm them down. Like if I said, man, just chill out, I'm going to get you the money. I'm going to get you the money by the end of this month. And I never get it to you, but I keep promising I'm going to get it. You know what I'm saying? To keep me from lashing out or to keep me from, you know, uh, causing disruption or whatever. Hey, just calm down. I'm going to build the school. I'm going to make sure the kids. We're going to save the kids from the school to prison pipeline. We're going to do all that. So in building a school, make sure you have the principles. This whole video is about principles. If you didn't already catch on to it, have your principles in order. Have your priorities in check. Have your principles in order. Know the principles, like a priori and true education and stuff like that. Align to those principles so that whether your school is brick and mortar, it's online, it's in the back of the store, wherever you're doing your lessons, it's on social media, like how I'm doing now. You know what I'm saying? Have your principles in check. Just some friendly advice. You know what I'm saying? And for those of you that are students, you're still learning, you still want to have some instruction and education from people, make sure the teacher or the instructor or the lecturer or whoever or the expert, make sure they aren't leading you astray or trying to program you or proselytize or inculcate you. See if they're going to give you the space in the lane to figure things out and draw out your inner content. Al Achad, Holography, thank you for viewing.